Hey everyone, and welcome to part 4 of the web scraper tutorial. And in this tutorial we're going to extract the HTML code, actually the links from the HTML code that we pulled from the website. And to get a better idea of what exactly we want to target in our source, we're going out to the website here at unsplash.com, and we're going to take a closer look at the images that we have here. So I right-clicked and hit Expect Element in our Firefox browser, and right here we have our image, and then we have some other items in here too, other elements such as the div tags, and in some instances we would want to pay attention to some of the div tags, especially if they have a unique ID, because we're looking for something unique. Now in this case we probably can start right with the image tag itself, and so the key is to find something that's unique about each image, yet not just unique but is also repeated in each image. So for example, here we have our source. Now every image on this site has a source in it, so that's not going to be very overly unique. So I just hit edit as HTML because this is the way the scraper itself is going to see the code, which is usually laid out different than what we were looking at before in our other view. So, and this is the view that we see normally, and the layout's a little bit different. So we want to see it as the scraper sees it. And so here we're looking at our image tag, and one thing that's kind of unique inside this image tag is right here, the source set. And so the source set is only shown once, and then you have our link here. And so if we went from our source set all the way to the hyphen there, that should be kind of unique for each source set. So I'm going to go back into our IDE here, and let's just scroll down past this function, and we're going to create another function, and this function we're going to call get URLs. Okay, and this is going to return a string list. A string list is kind of like an array for you programmers coming from other languages. So that's what we're going to return, and then we're going to have our begin and end. Now we're going to come up here, and if you remember from our last tutorial, when you create a function or a procedure, we're going to press Control. Well, first I need to put the class in here. I forgot to do that, so let me just backtrack a little bit. Tform1 dot. Okay, that's better. Okay, good. Now, like I was saying, Control-Shift-C, press that, and then it will automatically put it up here as a declaration under our private. So we have get URLs there now. That saves us a bit of typing and extra effort. Now I'm going to put in a var section, and under the var we're going to put some variables. So first of all, I want to create a string list. Oh, let me do this too. We need to have an argument in here because we're going to do this. Now I'm hitting Control-Shift-C again, and watch this. This is cool. The correction we made has been reflected in our declaration up here. So I didn't even have to go back up there to fix that when I added in my argument. We want to load that HTML file into this function because that's going to contain our source code. So anyways, back to where I was before. We're going to make our index variables. This would be to grab the index location, and this is going to be an integer. Our index location for the link, start and finish. And then we're going to create our string list, which is pick links, is what we're going to call it. And it is a T-string list. Now I'm going to go ahead and NDX And our NDX is going to actually, I'm pasting in what I had copied before, this source set. If you remember, I was in here and I just kind of grabbed the source code or the link there. So I'm pasting that back in there, and we want to find the index location of that. Also, let me create the pick links. So we're going to create an instance of pick links, which is our tstring list.create. And that'll create an instance of our string list, which we're going to need. And then we're going to make a loop while ndx is greater than 0, then do, then we're going to have our begin and end. Now the reason we have a while loop here is because we want to get all the links for those pictures and not just one. So as long as our ndx is greater than 0, then it'll keep looping. And now we're going to find the index of, I should have put this in before, but what we're doing is we want to find the index location of this source set code here. So when it finds the location in the beginning, it'll be 0, which means I found it. So if it's 0 or greater, then it will go into this loop, and it'll stay in that loop as long as it keeps finding the index, finding this up here where it says source set. And when it runs out of those, then it'll stop. So now we're going to set our first index, which is ndx. And so it's already at 0 at source set. So the next step, we want to get up to the HTTPS, because that's the beginning of our link. So source set is just kind of getting us to the ballpark. But to actually get where we want to be, our actual target is the link itself, which starts at HTTPS. So we're going to find the index of now HTTPS, and that will be starting at ndx. So we have a comma there, and the ndx is a starting point, which is the starting point, which is at the beginning of the source set. And so it's going to go over to HTTPS, is what we're telling it to do. So now ndx2, that'll be our end, the end location where we want to go. So if we just jump in here real quick, hit edit as HTML, let me just show you. At the end of the link, this is actually the whole link that we want. This is going to take us to our picture. The rest of that stuff are just query strings, which we don't need. So everything after this question mark, we won't need. So we want to go up to that question mark, which is going to be our endpoint. So html.index of the question mark, that's where we want to go to, starting at ndx. And right now ndx is at the beginning of HTTPS. So between HTTPS and the question mark, we want to grab all that, which is our link. Hope that makes sense. So now we need another string here. I'm going to call it URL. This URL is going to be the link that we want to pull out of there. So now we're going to say URL is assigned to HTML substring. And this substring is going to be what we're going to get from ndx. And the substring is, the length is from ndx2 minus ndx. So it should give us an entire string between the question mark back to the beginning of HTTPS. That's kind of what it's telling us there. And of course ndx is our start point. So now we're going to take our pick links, which is our string list, and we want to add that URL to it. So we're going to type in picklinks.add and put URL here as the argument. Okay. Now from here we're going to set ndx again, because we want to go to the next source set, which will be our next image. So we want to go to the next one. So we pretty much copy what we have up here. So we're going to go find the next instance of this, which is source set equals blah blah blah. And my quotes didn't go in there. Okay, let me just type those. Okay, so this is essentially a copy of what we had up above when we were looking for in NDX to begin with, except now we have a comma NDX2 after that, which means it's going to look for this next one after the NDX2 location. Now we're going to return our pick links, and that'll complete this function. So after it gets everything and comes out of that while loop, then it's going to return. Now let's go back up here to button click, and we're going to put our function call in here, get URLs. And remember, we got to put in our HTML string. So HTML is going to equal what's returned from get HTML, and then we'll put HTML inside get URLs. So now we're not going to need this anymore, because when we run our application, we don't want it to be displaying all the HTML code. So, you know, what we want to do now is we want to have it display our links. So I'm just going to comment this out, and I did that with 2 brackets, an opening and a closing bracket, and that's how you would comment out multiple lines in Pascal. Now let's come back up here in our button click event, and so what we got here, we're going to add another string list, and we'll call it links. Okay, and that's t-string list. And now these links are what we're going to get from our get URLs function. First we need to create an instance though. So it would be links is assigned to t-string list dot create, and that'll create our instance. Okay, now we want to put links here, because links is going to, this string list is going to get the string list that was generated and returned, from get URLs. So result equals pick links. Everything that was in pick links is now going into links. Now let's take this and go to our next line and paste that in. And what we're going to do here is we're going to display our links, except we're going to just pull one link. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in link, so we know what we're looking at when we run this. And then we're going to put links, and then we're going to look at the first element of that links, because remember, a t-string links list is like a display, like an array. Okay, now for your Windows users, I'm going to go ahead and copy that so you can see the result in a message dialog. Okay, so now what it's going to do is hopefully it'll pull some links, and then it'll show it in our console. It'll show the first result from our first element in the t-string list. So let's give that a try and see what happens. Do a little smoke test here. See if it even works. And we got an error message. Okay, and so it's showing that list index 0 is out of bounds. That means that it didn't find anything. There is no links 0, because there's nothing in the list. So that means the size of the list is -1. So that threw an error. So why don't we throw a check in here? That way, if it doesn't find anything, it'll let us know that nothing's found. So we'll make an if, and we'll say if links.count is greater than 0, which means if it finds something in our links, for example, our array has more than 0 items in it, then it will display our message. So I'm just tidying up that a little bit, and let's cut that or move it up here, and so we'll put that in here. So now it's only going to show this if there's a result in our links. And now let's put an else in there too, because if it doesn't find anything and our string list is empty, then we'll want it to say that it didn't find anything. So let me just get rid of that semicolon, because we're going to put an else down below. And else, because it's the end of the begin end. So end else, and now we're going to have it display again, except this time under else is going to be nothing found. So let's just copy this from begin to end and paste it down below, and then put a semicolon there to complete it. Okay, so like I said, in the else area, we're going to just put in nothing found. And then we'll add on a line break after that. Okay. Let's just copy that down into our show message for Windows users, and then end that off with a semicolon. Great. Okay, so now if our links string list isn't empty, then it'll tell us what the link is. Otherwise, it's going to say nothing found. And since it's not finding anything at the moment, it should say nothing found instead of giving us an error message this time when we launch it. So let's make sure that works. And it does. It's showing nothing found now. So we have our check in place. So I can close that. Now let's run down here and see what's wrong. Everything looks okay. So I'm thinking that it probably doesn't like our index of string here, the source set. Because this all looks good, HTTPS and NDX. Yeah. So I suspect that maybe there's a quote, and maybe it doesn't like the quote where we have source set equals HTTPS. The conundrum, though, is that source set could be in other places besides just where our pictures are. So let's just jump back out here and let's look for something more unique. Oh, right here, a download button. Well, I spotted that right away. Let me hit that, inspect the source on this, and let's see what we got in here that might be more unique. Okay, download photo, the title, and we have a link. Excellent. This might be where we want to go. I think this is where we should be. And this is part of scraping, part of programming is trial and error. We got to just try some things out. And we're kind of flying at the seat of our pants anyways. Seat of pants. I'm the seat of pants programmer. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying part of this link and it's showing us a picture. That's good, but that's on a page. So let me do the whole link. Let's go all the way up to the question mark and copy that, and hopefully it's going to give us just the picture. Perfect. Okay, that's what we want. So that's good, because since it's going up to the question mark, we won't really have to change much, really, at all, to fix this. So let's go back into our get URLs function, and I'm going to copy this download photo from our title tag because that's pretty unique to the pictures. So I'm going to put that in there instead of the source set. Let's put that in both places. So now it should start out looking for that phrase, download photo. And then from there, it'll jump to HTTPS to start our link, and then end at question mark. So could it be this easy? Let's find out. Let's launch this baby and see if we get a result. Okay. Yes, excellent. And there's the first link in our list. Nice. Okay, so that's working. So here it's displaying links and the first element, which is 0. And logically, it should be picking up more than one link. So that list is probably full of links in there. So let's just test that real quick, just a simple way. Let's just change that 0 to, let's say, I don't know, like a 3. So let's put that, that'll find the fourth link in the list. And let's see what we get. I just put it in the right line part because we're just doing a quick test. And it's a different link. Nice. So, yep, that shows me that the list has multiple entries. So let's copy that and let's see what that is. Just out of curiosity. Cool, it's a picture, so looks like we did it. Excellent. So that covers getting the links. Now, there we go. Excellent. So now what we can do is in our next tutorial, we'll go ahead and load those into a picture element. And we'll grab random links out of that string list. So that should cover it for this tutorial. And if you like this tutorial, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. Thanks. See you in the next video.